Welcome back to Sabretooth at Nethemba, where we care about your security. Try Hackney Tuesday. Today's message is from Laura J. I don't know what J stands for, but from Laura saying, "You said that web was your specialty." Yes, I did say that. Although it's in your medium box, please try DogCat. This took me about 3.5 hours, and I still wasn't quite sure how I got through it, but I made it in the end. With a lot of research. I'd like to see your thought pattern and the way you process this and the way you handle this. Thanks and good luck. And thank you for the channel. Okay, you're welcome. Right. So DogCat, right? So let's sign in. I know what I mean. Sudo open VPN. I do this every time. I don't even know my password anymore. Laura, I think you're doing better than me so far. We're going to make a new directory in boxes, and we're going to call it dog. And then we are cding into boxes, DogCat. Lovely, and we'll open a few of these because we can. We do Mimbus because we can. For the good of all of us, except the ones who have not rooted DogCat. Okay. Okay, I'm not reading anything about it at all. I know that sometimes this gives information away, so what I'd quite like to do is join the room and just not read anything. Oh, I can see that there's 4 flags. Why are there 4 flags? Do we need to get into 4 different accounts? This looks okay. I made this website for viewing cat and dog images. I'm going to spend an hour just looking at these images. If you're feeling down, come and look at some dogs and cats. Do you know what? Let's do that. Let's do that. Just check the IP address. Here is the same as usual. ton 0. I think I can use ton 0 in my apps. I will try that, definitely. We're still on Hack the Box Legacy, so we're going to get rid of Hack the Box. We're going to come in with THM. We are going here, a new subnode, and here we have it. So we are now just waiting for the box to start in 30 something seconds. Good. So I'm not under any time constraints, but still it'd be nice to get this done in a decent time. It took Laura 3.5 hours. By the way, it doesn't matter how long it takes you. If you're doing it yourself, doing the research, and not just looking up answers and things, and it's fine sometimes if you want to learn, then well done, you got there, and that was great. But you said that you didn't quite understand the process, which sometimes you can just stumble upon things and get a bit lucky with things. But if that's the case, then I'll try and explain what I'm doing and how it's worked out. So we have this here. We're going to do nmap, all ports. I'll put in a V on there and get the version in as well. But as this actually said, I made a website, obviously. We expect a website to be up. So let's make a start here. What would you like to see, dog or a cat? Okay. Okay, immediately I see view equals dog. So we'll take a look at that in a minute. It could be SQL injection. And now it's not even loading. Oh my God, that one's huge. Okay, so let's take a look at one of these images in a new thing. So it's dog/7. I see. Data permission to access, that's fine. But I'm assuming there's like 2.jpg and we can just get to all the files this way. We can indeed. So it's picking out a random one by the looks of it, and because that's number 2, and then the previous one was number 7. So I think it's just picking out a random picture each time. Yeah, that's the first one again. So that's cute. Yeah, and that one just came up twice almost in a row. So it looks like it's using the PHP rand function. Okay, so what we're going to do is not that. Okay, we're going to reload the page and let it do that, and then we are going to that all 1 equals 1 with that. Okay, so it's doing cat all 1 equals 1 dot php. So it's adding dot php to whatever we. So that means if it's adding dot php to this, it's loading from cat.php. So if I go back here, we can probably do that. Yeah, and then we can refresh and we can get these images. Okay, this makes sense. We'll view the source just to be sure there's nothing weird going on. No, it's just picking random pictures. Okay, and obviously dog.php will exist as well. Right, let's take a minute just to make some notes. This loads cat.php, therefore .php is added by the system, right? So if we do cat.php here, it's going to be cat.php, then it will add .php, and I'm guessing we're going to get an error saying cat.php failed to open, right? So that's fine. That's fine. We're okay with that. So that's proof, really. I will actually just take a screenshot of that. It's just easier. Just so that we know. Okay, so we know how this works. So I wonder if we can now read other files. So as an example, I mean, this should be index.php, right? Yeah, that's the main page, right? So if we put in index here, sorry, only dogs or cats are allowed. Okay. Okay. We try with index. Well, we try with this, but it says, let's make a note of this. Sorry, only dogs or cats are allowed. So far we're not doing too bad. How's this going? That's fine. We've only got 2 ports open, and that's the web and the SSH port. Okay, so go back up. Just a reminder, if you're not sure what I'm talking about with port 22 and 80 and SSH, go back to the previous videos. The very first one goes into things like this. I just don't see the point in going through the same thing again and again if it's been done in a previous video. So if you watch my videos in order, you'll be gaining the knowledge as you go. So we need the word dog or cat by the looks of it, unless it literally just, hang on, what if we do index 1 and then index 1 dog? Yeah, okay. So because it's got the word dog in it, it allows it. Okay. So what if we try and do dog slash and then go back a directory? We're going into the dog directory and then we're going back a directory and loading index. Cannot redeclare contains string previously declared. Okay. So that didn't work. It's filtered against that. You see, I'm going into the dog directory, which doesn't exist, then back out of it again, and then loading index. So I'm loading index in the current directory. Just needs to get dog in there somewhere. Okay. We try. Sorry, getting a call through. It's not important. To load index.php as follows, but gets. Okay. So the next thing I'll try and do is load in a file from my web server. If I do because what we're trying is local file inclusion. We're trying to take read files from the local file system, but just maybe we can do remote file inclusion. So take a file from a remote server like mine. We're going to call it dog.php, and then we're going sudo python 3. We're loading the HTTP server module, and we're doing it on port 80. So now dog.php is available, and all we really have to do here is HTTP, put in my IP address 10.40.102.67/dog, and it will add .php onto the end and load my file. Hopefully. Okay, HTTP wrappers. It's interesting. So include. See, it's trying to include my file, but it says failed to open stream. No suitable wrapper could be found. Failed opening for inclusion. It's disabled in the server configuration. Allow URL include 0. So it's not allowing external URLs. Okay, so we'll make a note of this. We cannot achieve RFI, remote file inclusion, due to this being disabled in PHP settings. Right, so we try that and we get back. I could put all this actually, there's no real reason not to. Nice. So we're trying things, it's not working, but at least we're rounding things down. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is go back to dog. What I could do is put in a null byte, and what this does, it'll still add the .php onto the end, but this null byte will sort of kill it, so anything which comes after that .php will be ignored. And as you can see, it's now failed opening dog, not dog.php. So, because if I put oh, hang on, back up. So I can put whatever here, and this won't be part of it because that null byte will kill it. See? So the .php which is appended to this is also ignored. So all I need to do now, hang on, I wonder if I can load dog.php by typing it myself, and then the null byte will kill everything. It should open dog.php. Oh, failed opening dog.php. Why didn't that work? Why didn't that work? What about if I put a new line or something? No, it's added the new line, but that's not right. Just trying these different hex codes for things like this. It's, for some reason I can't load this file using a null byte. Right, let's make a note of this. We cannot use null bytes to load dog.php. So if we can't use it for that, we can't use it for index.php either. Okay, this is tricky. So what else can we try here? That's so cute. Right. Let's look for some common payloads. We're going to go LFI, local file inclusion, payloads. I should put GitHub really because, oh, we've got a GitHub here. LFI payloads, payload box, LFI. I mean, we could pick any of these. It doesn't really matter. We're just going to choose one at random. And then we'll see what's in here. So yeah, it'd be good if we could load // and get all the way back to the root directory and then etc password. The problem is it's going to put .php on the end and I can't get rid of that. So that's not good. That's RFI. We don't want that. So we've tried the null byte here. We've not tried double encoding. We maybe could try that. Maybe we could try double encoding. So what happens is we do that 25 and then put 0, 0. Oh, now it's included. No, we don't want that either. Oh. So %25 in hex is the percent character. And so what it's doing is turning that into a percent. And then it's having zeros. I just tried to do this to double encode it. Quite a complex thing. But we don't need to know about it if it doesn't work. PHP filters are interesting. PHP filters might work. So instead of using HTTP, it can use the PHP, and it will try rotating. It'll try. Okay, let's try this. Let's just try them all, and I'll explain it if it works. No point explaining it if it doesn't until we actually need it. So what I'm going to do is resources dogs, because it's going to load dog.php. Unexpected. No, that doesn't work. Base 64 encode might work. Let's take a look. Dog. Oh, here we go. And now we've got this. This is good. Right, let me explain what's just happened. Let's open Burp Suite while I'm doing so. Even though the splash screen is just going to take over my page. Right, what's happening is this is base 64 encoding the dog.php page. It's loading the dog.php and then it's converting it into using base 64. It's encoding it, and then this is the output of the encoding right here, right? And I'll show you why that's useful. Okay, we can use PHP filters with base 64 encoding. So this was just trial and error, yes, trying these payloads, but the payloads were all there in that list. So it's not the, you know, too complicated to find that. You just try each one until one works. And this gives this, right? Now, I'm rather hoping that this decodes to the code of dog.php, which it should. Because if you load a PHP page, you don't get the code of the PHP page, you get the result. So there's code there saying pick a random dog picture, right? And you get the result of that, you get the random dog picture. What I actually want to try and get is the code which says pick a random dog picture. Because if you can read the code of a PHP file, then you get a lot of information about how things work, because you can see all the functions, what they do, and how they're put together, right? Now, I can use base 64 decode website like I've done in the past, but I just want to show you how to use Burp Suite to do things like this as well. We're likely going to need Burp Suite anyway if we're dealing with stuff like this. It'd be easy just to work through Burp Suite and use the repeater to just make edits and things. So Burp Suite's updating, and that's taking forever. So at the minute, I'm just waiting. Just waiting. In the meantime, I suppose I could use the base 64 decode website, but there's really no point. So literally, I'm just going to spin on my chair, make sure that I'm central in frame. I'm not central in frame. Near enough. And then we'll see. There we go. So now Burp Suite's opening again, now that it's done an update. So how are we doing? Right. So this box so far, I think, is quite complicated with regards to filter bypassing and local file inclusion and things. It's not massively difficult. It's on par with what I generally do in my job. It's definitely a lot harder than, you know, brute force username and password and then put a reverse shell in the like template file like we've done before, you know, or just put in an SQL injection and throw it into SQL map and stuff. It's more complicated than that because there's a lot of manual work which needs to go into this. Now Burp Suite can help because Burp Suite's got something called the intruder, and it can try all these payloads for you. If you get a list of payloads, you can load it into Burp Suite and it will try each one and show you what the result is. So we go to the decoder. Hopefully, there we go. We're going to paste this in without the here you go. There we go. And then decode as base 64, and you'll see, there we go. So this is the code load. It's taking from the dogs directory, and then it's doing a random 1 to 10.jpg. So it echoes the random number .jpg, and that's the file it loads, like 7.jpg or 2.jpg. And thanks. So now we've got the code of pages. This is great. Decoded is this, so we can now read PHP code. Hooray! So what we'll try and do now is we're going to go into the non-existent dog directory, and then we're going to back out of the non-existent dog directory, and now we're going to load index.php. So all that's doing, it's loading index.php from the current directory, that's this page, but it's got the word dog in there so it doesn't complain. Okay, you can see this is bigger, it's got more code in it. So we're able to now read index.php. This is nice. We'll see how big this actually is. Look at this, it's got a lot of code in there. So we're going to go in here, and you can see that now we have the full page. And the code we need is, they're just the buttons, everything in the PHP block here. So let's look at this and see. If you see something like this, which is get, what it means is it's taking it from the web address. So look, for example, here you've got get view. What it's doing is taking the value from view. It's taking all this. So, because it's checking if it contains dog or if it contains cat, right? The view. And if it does, it says, here you go. And if it doesn't, it says, sorry, only dogs or cats are allowed. What's caught my attention is this, get ext. So if get ext doesn't exist, it adds .php. So ext must be the extension, right? Can we add an ext variable to set our own extensions instead of having to rely on .php? So the one way to check that is to go back to this dog, just go back to the main page. We're going to do and ext equals text, and now it's saying include dog text. Oh, we need dot text, right? So now it's trying to include dog.text, which failed. And if we do .php, okay, so now we can set our own extensions. And this is good because if we want to get like the etc password file, what we can do is, if you think about this, hang on. I'll put in brackets here, just yes, we can, right? If we want to load etc password file, what we can do is we can set the file name as that and the extension is this, and what it'll do is it'll take the extension and just put it on the end, right? So we can do that. Only dogs or cats are allowed. So what we need to do is the same as before. We can go into the non-existent dog directory, and then we can go back and back and back, or we need to go all the way back to the start. I don't know how far back it goes, but far enough, right? And then we get in plain text now. We don't have to worry with this base 64. We're not doing that anymore. So now we can do this. We've gone into dog and then out of dog and then back another directory and back another directory and back, and probably by this point it's already reached the root, but we can still keep trying to go back, it doesn't matter. And then we go into etc password. And for this we get this. And so now we can read, there we go. Now we can read things from files. Good, we're getting there, right? We're getting there. The question is, what next? Because we can read things from files, but what good is that going to do us? Unless there's a SSH file. Problem is, I don't know the name of the user. Hang on, there is a user. There is a user. Non-existent. Oh no, there isn't a user. There's no user on here. Huh, well that's not useful. Hang on. It might help if I view source, because I think it will be formatted better. There we go. So we've got the root at the top. Mail, proxy, www data maybe. We've got backup list, IRC. All these say no login, no login, no login, no login, no login, no login. So other than root, which we've not got access to root stuff, I don't think we're running as root. So we can't, I was thinking of taking like an SSH key if there was one and logging into SSH, but for some reason, yeah, that's not going to work. Right, that plan's not going to work. So what other files can we read? What we really need to do is be able to run our own code on the page. What do we have access to that? Right, okay. What if we do, I've just thought about this, what if we do go into the web server log files, right? You'll see where I'm going with this. I think, hang on, let's have a look at this again. Let me have a look at this again. I've got www data, so there's obviously a web server running. The fact that it's in var www, it's probably an Apache 2, probably. Okay, what if we do etc release? No. What if I look on my system? Because then hang on, let's kill that. So ls etc release. We've got LSB release, upstream release, sorry, and OS release. That might be what I need. OS release, let's try that. Okay, so this is a Debian system, buster debian.org. So if we know it's Debian, what web server does Debian use? I think it's Apache. Apache 2. Yeah, Apache 2. Okay. So. We check the OS version. I can get that same thing on mine, by the way. I can do like cat etc os release, load the same file, and mine is Linux Mint, you see. So there we go. So most Linux systems are set out this way. We check the OS version and find Debian. Debian uses, in fact, I'm going to get the full output of this. Debian uses Apache 2. as default web server, right? Software. So now I need to find out where the log files are, you see? So Apache to log files. The error.log, no, we don't want error.log, we're not after errors. Access log. Yeah, val default log locations. Access log. Hang on, Apache 2, let's try access log files. Var log Apache 2 access.log. Okay, I don't see why not. And again, var log Apache 2, var log Apache 2 access logs. Okay, or var log httpd. Okay, so no, we're doing a little bit of Googling. Can we access this, question mark? So I'm going to put this var log Apache 2 access as my file name. And then obviously we're after access.log, right? Brilliant, right? So yes, we can. Okay, good news. Now, why is this important? Because now I've got something which I can add to the page. Look, these are all the logs. So you can see that I looked for that. And you can see that I look for this OS release, and you can see that I look for this and this and this. And every time I make a new request, it will add it to the page because it keeps adding into the logs, and I'm loading the log to page, right? But do you notice what else it adds? Mozilla. That is my web browser user agent right here. Now, if I do this through Burp Suite, if I turn on the intercept and do this through Burp, catch the request, send it to the repeater, and I change this user agent and then send it, you can see that when we reload the page now, my whatever I've just typed now appears on the page. Now, what if that was a reverse shell in PHP? The question is, does it allow PHP code? Does it allow PHP code? Because if it does, then this is great, actually, if it does. So we're going to do some PHP code. If I put in PHP echo meow, put that in there. So all my PHP code does, if it doesn't work, basically that's going to be written to the page. If it does work, that's going to be written to the page, but the code's going to run and all we'll see is the output, which is meow. And I'm hoping that's the case because it means we can run our own code. So we'll do that. We'll load the page again. So something's wrong here. I think I've broken it. I'm not sure how. Maybe I should just put it in these quotes instead of the other quotes. Let's try that. Oh no, I've massively broken it at this point. Okay, so because we've broken it, what we're going to do is terminate the machine. You need to be very careful when on a pen test doing things like this because, you know, if you break your way in, there's no going back. And then we're going to start up with a new IP address. It's just how it is, right? It's just how it is. So far, by the looks of it, I was about half an hour in. So yeah, this is just the way it goes. even in the exams like OSCP and OSCE and in the labs and things, there's always a revert button. So don't worry if you're doing something like this about messing up. If it's a customer system, it's more of a problem. And what I would do just to make sure it works is I would run this on my own system with my own web server running and make sure that I get a working attack. And if I get a working attack, I will then, and only then, run it on the customer system because I know that it already works and it's not going to break anything for the most part, right? But I'm not doing that here because I can just revert, get a new IP address. What we'll do is close this, we'll change the IP to this. You see, and we've now got a new access log. So I'm going to catch it once again with Burp Suite to get the new IP address, put it into the repeater. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take my new thing here, this echo. It might break again. I'm going to copy this and we'll put it in here now instead, in the user agent. And we can hope that it's not going to break. Okay. Right, as you can see, all we've got is meow. We've not got the PHP, the rest of the code, which means it's taking the code and running it, and this is the output of the code. And if you want more proof, you can do like an eval, like 1 + 1, it'll just come out as 2 and things like this. So the good news is we can now run our own code. So I'm just going to put in brackets IP change just so we don't get confused. We can run our own code in user agents. So now that we can run our own code, we could try putting a reverse shell in here, but I think the easiest way of doing this will be to create some sort of way where we can give the system commands. So how will we do that? Okay, we're going to run system. We're going to get from the, do you remember this, what I was just talking about here, where it gets from the parameters from the web address, like view and ext. It's going to get one now called cmd, or I'll write command actually. Command. So it's going to get whatever's in the command variable and then run it on the system. So we'll run that. We will load this. And we get system gonna execute a blank command because I'm not giving it a command yet, right? So we'll give it a command here, and we're just gonna put ls to list all the files in the directory. Right, that's not working. Oh no, it is working, it's here, right? It's got cat.php, cat, dog.php, dogs, flag.php. Nice. So in order to do this more, commonly, I can put it in here, and command equals ls. And now when we reload the page, it should be at the very bottom because we've just run it again. It's down here, right? And if we look at the view the source, you'll see that it's easier to see here, right, that it's running our code. It's running our ls directory listing. We've got dog.php, which we know exists. We've got the dogs directory and the cats directory, which we know exists. Flag.php is one we didn't know existed. So that's quite fun. Let's actually try loading that in, shall we? I'll tell you what, I'm going to copy this whole thing here because I can, okay. because I can try doing like cat flag.php, but space might mess things up. Cats flag.php, yeah, that's not working. Or I might be able to do cats, I don't know. I don't know what's happening. I could put in like a space here with 20. Yeah, so that's not working. At least I can't see it working. Let's view the source just to be sure. Oh no, there it is. There it is. There's the flag. That's the code from that PHP page. Because, okay, nice, good. Excellent. So there we go. Okay, I've not put anything. Oh, I've not put anything down, have I? Oh man. Right, hang on. Let's leave that up. Let's do command ls. I just want to update my notes, you see. So we're going to update ls, and then when we view the source, we're going to have that. Okay. And then that's cat the flag.php, and that should be in here. There we go. Right, we've got our first flag. Oof. Nice. Nice. So that is our first flag here. We will just copy that and we'll put in flag 1. I assume that's flag 1 anyway, because I mean it was, yeah, it says it here, flag 1 equals. Okay, right, we have now got our first flag. Fine. So far so good. The question is, what do we do now? We need to run code to connect back to us, like a shell or something similar, right? So we'll stick in Burp Suite. We're going to leave this here because it's going to run whatever we put in here. So all we need to really do is put a reverse shell there, I think. I think so, because it's running it on the back-end system. So if we get like a bash shell or something like this, not image hacks, no, not TTY, reverse shell. If we get a bash shell here, because bash is obviously what, you know, what this is running, like bin bash starts a new shell, right? And you can exit back to the old one. Not that you can see the difference. So what we're going to do is change the IP address to 10.14.102.67 because that's my address, and we're going to set the port to 1234. Now here's the problem. If I put this into here, this contains ampersand symbols, like and if you put and symbols into a web address, it separates the parameters like and ext and command, and that's going to break it because I need to put it, you know, so we don't want any ands in there. So what I'm going to do is URL encode it. So we can URL encode, so that means that it will run without seeing and as a new parameter. Okay, we can URL encode the following shell. We can URL encode the following shell. So we'll try that. I don't even know if this is going to work. Maybe a Python shell would be better, actually. I don't know. We'll try this first. So we're going to go into burp decoder. We're going to throw you in here, and we're going to encode it as URL. and you'll see that that's what it now looks like. These are all hex characters. So hex 62 is B, hex 61 is A, hex 73 is S, hex 68 is H, and 20, as we know, is space. And then you've got your -I, and then 20 for another space. So all of this is encoded. And web addresses can, I'll show you what I mean. You can go into something like google.com, and you can put in any sort of thing like hello equals that, and you'll see that it turns into this, right? So browsers know what to do with it. So I think at this point we can maybe put this into here like that. I'm going to run this bash shell on the backend system. At least I hope so. So what we're going to do is nc lvp1234. No, nc. So we're running netcat on port 1234. We'll try running this code. Ah, nothing. Huh. Oh dear. I honestly thought that was going to work. We can try putting it in here, I suppose. So this isn't working at all. I really thought it would. I really thought it would, actually. Okay, so that did not work. That did not work at all. So what we're going to do instead, as we know that this runs our PHP code, I was thinking, if we know it runs our PHP code, then how about doing a PHP shell? But I don't think that's going to... Okay, right, we're going to stick with the same idea, but we're just going to run a different sort of shell here. So we're going to try like a Python shell, or even a PHP shell like this, right? Because we know that PHP is installed, so we can maybe do this. So we're going to change our mind. We can URL encode the following shell. We'll change this to 10.14.102.67, and then this 1234. Right, we're going to take this reverse shell. I mean, this might work, this might not, but we're just trying different ones, see what works, see what doesn't. A little bit of trial and error here and there. We're going to throw that in there, and that gives us our new code here. And then we can put this into here, and then run. Oh, this one gave us a shell back. Brilliant, that one worked. So some work, some don't. Obviously it didn't like the bash shell for some reason, but it didn't mind the PHP shell. Maybe the Python one would have worked as well. Oh, that's so cool. Okay, so let me make a full request here. Shell was received. Hooray! Who am I? www data. This is great. So we've now got access to the system. So we spent half an hour before we had to revert it, and we are now 15 minutes in. So we're 45 minutes in, we have a shell on the system, okay? Nice, this isn't bad. This isn't bad. So a shell was received. So now it's just a case of routing it. Now it's interesting that there's no users on this system at all. How, except for root, because look, ls, lsa, there's not even anything hidden at all. We are the www user, so I'm going to var www. Oh, as it happens, there's flag 2 right here. Okay, print working directory, cat flag. So as it happens, we got a little bit lucky just finding that. Nice. I suppose it makes sense as it's the web user. So we've got our second flag. That's 2 out of 4. Why are there 2 more flags? Surely routing it is all that's left, right? Next door is so loud, so noisy. Right, I can't clear that because we've not got the term. Right, okay. Right, let me close this. It's going to be so hot in here. That's bad. Okay. What next? We can cd into root. I don't think it will work. No, we can't. We can ls root. I don't think that will work. No. We can see what's in here. There's the HTML, of course. And then there's all of these. We can see the hidden files as well. There aren't any. That's fine. So we've got cat, cat, dog, dog, flag. You know, so I could always cat flag from here. We've already got this one, but there you go, right? So there's other ways of doing this. We can cd into the roots directory and just take a look around. Hidden file. Oh no. Are we in a container? I think we're in a container. Okay, let's go to TMP, the temporary directory, and then we can try and grab linps and see what's up, right? So we're going to go back, privesc scripts. Okay, so sudo Python 3. We're opening a HTTP server on port 80. And we should hopefully be able to wget 10, 14, 102, 67 linps. H. Oh, oh wow. Oh wow. wget is not found. Okay. I mean, I don't think we've got sudo as this user, have we? We don't normally. Oh, hang on a minute. www.data may run the following commands. Ooh, that's rare. It's always worth trying. Okay, so we can run user bin env. So what can we do with that as sudo? We're going to go to gtfo bins. And it's the env, isn't it? So we're going to do env. And we're going to go sudo. And it says, if the binary is allowed to run as super user by sudo, it does not drop the privileges. All you need to do is sudo env and start a new shell. Ooh, okay. Okay, that's easy. Right, gtfo bins shows okay, so we're just running it with bin sh, and that's going to start a new shell, which is elevated. So we're going to sudo, we're going to do what it says, user bin env, and we're going to run it with opening a new shell. Who am I? Root. Okay, the problem is we are root in a container. We're not root on the main system. But what I can do is cat root whatever's in there. That looks like the third flag. So I guess the last flag will be breaking out the Docker container and getting root. Okay, fine. So that's flag 3, I would assume. The final flag is breaking out of this Docker container and routing, question mark. That's what it seems like. Right, 3/4 of the way there. What I'm going to do is check now. If you have a container like Docker, what happens is you've got your file system, right? And on this file system, you've got a container, and we are trapped inside this container. But you should have ways to transfer things to the container and out of it. And that's called having like a mount point. So you'll have your container and you'll have a folder or something perhaps on your main system, which if you put things into it, it appears in the container. And if you put things in it, it'll appear on your main system. And this is like mounted in that location. So the way to check for that is by doing mount, and you can see everything that may be mounted. So we're going to take this and take a look. Okay, overlay on type, overlay, Docker, overlay, pass. We don't want proc, C group, groups. So dev, we want dev because that's the device, right? Similar to like a hard drive. You know, you got dev A for your hard drive A, and then you got dev B for maybe a USB stick, and dev C for whatever. So we're looking for like something. The dev is called NVMe0N1P2 opt backups. Okay. etc resolve, etc hostname, etc host, and var www html. So I don't think the etc ones will be useful because etc is a protected file folder, and I don't think we can write in there. Opt backups is really interesting, and we obviously know var www html, that's the website, but there's nothing on there which we can maybe use to try and break out. I'm interested in this. Okay, so we're going to go to OPT backups and see what's in there. Oh, so we've got a shell script, and we've got like a zip file, a tar file. But let's see what's inside this shell script. Tar cf root container backup tar root container. The fact that this script is able to do something in the root directory probably means that it's owned by root. Let me just check that. It is. I mean, root has got access to read, write, and execute, and we've not got rights to execute or write. We can only read it. Ha. Boo, that's not good. It looks like it's taking that root container and it's making a backup of it. Oh no, no, what it's doing is, yeah, what it's doing is taking the backup.tar and then it's extracting it into root container or something similar to that. So we cannot write backup sh. Oh, we can. What? We can overwrite it. Why? Oh, we're root, aren't we? I'm an idiot. We're the root user in the container. Oh, damn. Right, okay. So, let's take a look. This is what it contains originally. This is what it contains originally. We are root in the container, so we can overwrite this script. Now I'm assuming that this script runs on a cron job. I could be wrong, but we'll find out. We're going to go to temp we're going to wget http 10.14.102.67, and we're going to get pspy 64-bit. I totally forgot. I could look in the cron job directory actually. Or even better, if I put this back into that file, right? As if I hadn't ever even changed it. Right? And then what was the next line? Then we can cat backup.sh. Right, it's as if I'd never even touched it. What we can do is lsl. What are we doing? What? Well, where's backup.tar gone? Oh, we're in temp. Oh my god. Right, copy backup.sh to, what was it, opt backups. I assume that's probably right. Right, I've really messed this up. Right, so we're going to cat backup.sh just to make sure that's fine. We're now going to, right, this is exactly as it was when I first got here. Now, 1858 backup tar was created, right? If I do this again, I'm kind of hoping that updates once this code runs again. Kind of hoping it updates. Yes, it has. Look, it's updated. So that means that every minute or two or whatever, the code runs and it copies like that into this backup.tar. Right. I kind of wonder if I can just unzip this backup.tar and get the root file. But I'll tell you what I'll do. I'm going to put my own code into backup.sh. It already contains this. All I'm going to do is go back to the reverse shell cheat sheet, and I'm just going to use this code again like before. So we are 10.14 102.67. The port we can do as, I don't know, 9999. So what I'm going to do is echo, as in add, all of this, append it to, I'm watching out for these quotes. I've been caught out by that before. Backup.sh, right? I've been caught out by these quotes before. Oh, I can't go back. I'm gonna have to write it all out. I hate these quotes. Stupid. I wonder if there's a way to change the formatting of Cherry Tree, because that messes me up so much. There we go, and put that in backup.sh. Before I do that, we're going to detach this terminal and put it down here. We'll move this one to the side. I'm going to put this one here. And what we're going to do is nc lvp 9999, right? I can't even see what I'm typing. Okay. Please don't tell me that just closed. It didn't. Okay. So that's waiting for my shell. We're going to add this into there. We're going to cat backup.tar. No, wrong one. We're going to cat backup.sh. Oh no, we don't need to. It's done. It's here. It's done. It's here. We know it's in there now. Good. Good, good, good. That was a mess. That was a mess. Look at the state of that. Okay. This gives us a shell when the script runs. And here we can see that now the system name is DogCat. It's not, well, whatever it was, whatever the system was called. Host name. That's what the system was called inside the Docker container. And outside the Docker container, it's called DogCat, right? So we're in the right place now. Who am I? And then we're going to cat /root/ whatever's in there. This is the last flag here. Oh, oy vey. I'm not Jewish, I just like saying oy vey. That is our last flag. So now we can start putting these into the website. So where was our first flag? Where was our very, very first one? Here. So we've been about an hour. We took half an hour and then we reverted and then we did half an hour. So that's pretty good, right? So that one's fine. Flag 2 was this one here. Flag 3 was here. That was the root of the Docker container. And finally, flag 4 is right at the end when we've broken out. And we have this flag here. In theory. We're still running through Burp Suite. No? Have you given up the ghost? Yes, no, maybe? Congratulations on completing DogCat. Fantastic. Let's get rid of Burp Suite. That was an excellent, excellent system. That is probably that's my favorite one yet. That was really good, doing the local file inclusion and bypassing the filter, making sure that the word dog and cat was in there. We used the PHP, the PHP filtering here in order to call the file. We was able to then load in an access log, which we then changed our user agent so that it ran our PHP code. And in doing that, we was able to then put a new parameter in the URL where we could run our code. And in doing that, we was able to get a reverse shell. We was in a Docker container. We was then able to break out of the Docker container by abusing, first we had sudo rights. So we was able to escalate to root inside the container, and then we was able to break out of the container using this script, which then gave us root access on the main system. So many steps. So many steps. Now, I don't understand why that one's medium, and things like Jack is rated hard, because Jack, it was just like, from what I remember, it was literally just a WP scan, brute force, and reverse shell. It wasn't complicated. This was hard. This was difficult. I absolutely love this system. I adore it so much. I'm happy with this one. This was great. Thank you for Laura for the suggestion. I wouldn't have looked at this one because it just seemed a bit weird. thank you, Laura, so much for the suggestion. Get in touch, because I'd like to talk to you about this, and find out where you were having trouble and see if my explanation has helped. Thank you. Feel free to subscribe if you haven't, like definitely if you haven't, and be sure to visit nethemba.com for all your pen testing needs. Thank you so much, and goodbye.